Is it okay to not have some things in common with your significant other? For example, your partner likes to go and party under sunrise, whereas you're okay with doing it once in a while. It's not really your thing. Or your significant other has a different talent from you. You have different interests in music. Is that normal or doomed to failure? Hi, my name is Martha. I'm a clinical sexologist, also a relationship coach with a doctorate in human sexuality. And I'm from Eros Coaching. That's eroscoaching.com. Okay, so to answer this question, I feel it's normal, common, in fact, and also healthy to have different differences with your partner. For me, I feel it's important to establish clear relationship boundaries. Don't just make assumptions. Some couples get into relationship but don't really have a conversation around boundaries. So it's important to talk about it and to re-talk about them whenever you feel that you're maybe feeling scared or vulnerable. And the other thing is there will always be things that you disagree with your partner. It's okay to agree to disagree and to respect that they have differences in opinion about certain things, such as politics. It's also the same, right, when it comes to us having friends. Just because somebody votes for a different political party, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to unfriend them, although there are people who do that. But this is your partner, and you like certain things about your partner, and obviously you don't like certain things about your partner. It doesn't mean that it needs to be a deal breaker unless it's something that is, like, for instance, how you're going to have your retirement years. So that can be a big one. Okay, so the next thing is to be able to understand and respect your preferences and differences. So on some things you have to agree to disagree. There's just no end to this because that's kind of like going to go nowhere. So you can agree to disagree. However, on certain things, even when there are differences, you have to understand and respect. So by that I mean, don't just like understand on the superficial level, like really take the time to understand. So for instance, if your partner says, oh, I really like to play with John, understand why. What is it that fascinates them? Is it what makes them work? Is it the design? Is it the freedom? Is it the childlikeness that it brings out the inner child? So these things helps you to understand your partner. And even though you don't really like it, but you are still involved in their life, you still take an active participation. That's what I mean by understand and respect. So if you have a friend that you don't really understand certain things about them, you ask questions to find out. And you want to be able to have a discussion with them. You don't necessarily have to do it or like it. You need to be able to at least develop enough understanding so that you can appreciate it. I think that's really important in keeping a couple together. So in my opinion, what keeps a couple together is more importantly than interests is a common values. So for instance, values such as lifelong learning, such as spirituality. So for some people, religion is a deal breaker. And if that is a deal breaker to them, then that is a deal breaker to them. But for me, I feel values such as some couples are of the opinion that they want to be monogamous. So that's a common value system that they have. Another one is having common relationship goals and vision for the future. So if you are building towards something, saving up, investing, what is it you want to build towards? Is it you want to be able to buy a boat and travel around the world? Is it because you want to be able to travel once a year? Or you want to retire in a different country? It's important to be able to have that common vision. So another thing that happens is a lot of couples do communicate, but they don't communicate about communicating. They don't communicate about how they can be more effective in being able to relate to each other. So that, to me, I feel is something that can help a couple to stay together, because the channels of communication stays open And so they might say something along the lines of, sweetheart, when just now when you said this really hurt me, and I think it would go down better for me if you had said it in this way. So this is a communication about communicating. And that is very useful because you don't get into a cycle of getting hurt and shut down. Another thing that I feel is really important in keeping couples together is a commitment to grow or change together. So there are couples, as we go through life's challenges that I know of, they don't want to change. They don't want to grow. They don't want to talk about things. They want to repress things, avoid things. And so what this happens is one person might be growing and the other is not. And the other person doesn't want to change. And so I feel like this lifelong commitment to growing together, because regardless of what we think, we like things to stay the same. They don't stay the same. They really don't. Look at technology. Previously we had pages, and now we have mobile phones, and now we use our mobile phones as mini laptops. So this change is constant. And so the ability to grow together is very important for a couple, as well as the ability and willingness to admit failings. I'm not perfect. Okay, I did wrong. Okay, I could improve. And then actually commit to change, to grow. And so these are some of the things that I have with regards to what I think about differences in couples in terms of interest, and also talked about what would keep them together. I'm just going to repeat the points. The first one is it's important, even when you have different interests, to have agreed relationship boundaries, to agree to disagree on things that you cannot agree on, and even on those things that are not really that important, to actually develop a interest in understanding your partner. So understand and respect their preferences and differences. And what will keep a couple together, okay, let's not even talk about interest. Let's not even talk about what gets them to stay together, but how to stay in a long-term relationship. I feel our common values, common relationship goals or vision, a commitment to communicate and communicate about communicating, and to commit to growing and changing together. So this is Martha of Eros Coaching. I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts, comments, questions, and you can always email me at ask@eroscoaching.com.